Okay, I think we're live. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
How's it going out there in LA?
Pretty
Rosanna?
good, pretty good. It's going good. Nice and sunny. I don't mean to brag, but it's nice and sunny today.
Nice, glad to hear. It's been raining, huh? Well, I guess you out there in the West Coast can appreciate the rain with all those terrible,
I,
terrible fires.
yeah, we see the effects of climate change very clearly here.
I'm sure. What
Yeah.
about the political climate? You guys had a big victory out there in a couple of weeks ago.
We sure did. We sure did. In Orange County, we're now all Dems. It was a struggle. Took, I think, maybe 25 years to get there. I remember when Loretta Sanchez was the one who really cracked the door open. And also really important is San Diego, Darrell Isa's district. He decided not to run because of the pressure of the people. And a Democrat was elected in place of another Republican. So there's
Wow.
some really good victories here.
What about in upstate New York, where you're at, Scott?
Well, we weren't successful in flipping our district, but we have a pretty good sense of what we got to do for 2020. We've already started organizing political education around single-payer healthcare and some other topics, just hoping to bring people toward a vision of democracy and people's rights, workers' rights.
Well, that's really important. It's important to keep the pressure on. We got to keep the pressure on. And in that connection, I just want to let our viewers know that each week the Communist Party has a message and action of the week. And this week, we're focusing on a campaign to boycott Sinclair News. Sinclair is a national broadcasting company that controls like 90% of the local markets. And like Fox News, it's an arm of the Trump administration. And they are so cold-blooded that Trump and them just give them an editorial, and every local TV station has to read it. Can you imagine? So there's a national campaign to boycott Sinclair. And you can find a link to a petition on our website at www.cpusa.org or on our Facebook page if you are on Facebook. And stay tuned for those kinds of actions each week. The more we keep the pressure on, the better. That's really, really important. And also, talking about pressure, there's going to be a big march, right, in Washington in January, led by the women's movement to protest the Trump agenda. There's a demonstration out there in LA, Rosanna?
Yes, there is. There is going to be a huge demonstration, but it's also going to be throughout the Los Angeles County area, which is a larger area than just the city. And it spreads out throughout Southern California. The first one was really huge, not just in Los Angeles, but throughout its surrounding areas, which is very surprising. But I'm expecting it to be as large. And our party will be out there with our pamphlet, Marxism in the Era of Uber, which is really a good pamphlet to explain about what's happening in today's society.
You can also find that pamphlet at our website at cpusa.org. And what about upstate New York? You guys are getting ready for the march?
Absolutely. There have been the past couple of years marches in Ithaca, New York, in Seneca Falls, New York, which is not too far away from where I am.
Where the women's movement was founded, right? Seneca Falls?
Founded, I don't know, but certainly one of the first big public manifestos of the women's rights movement was issued there in 1840.
Right. Now, speaking of demonstrations and protests, there was a big victory in France last week with the Yellow Vest movement. You've been following that, Scott, haven't you?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's hugely important. It got Emmanuel Macron to back down on raising the fuel taxes that would primarily impact working class people. It's an expression of the working class saying, no, we will not pay the price for fighting climate change. This is a problem created by capital, and capital should pay for it. It's a heterogeneous movement. There are different groups involved. I know there are some elements of the far right that are trying to take it over or claim that they've taken it over. It's not the case. It is a movement of the working class where different forces are present and
is the French Communist Party involved in it? That's what I want.
Absolutely. The French Communist Party is behind it. Trade union activists are involved in it. And the Communist Party, in fact, is calling for a no confidence vote in the current government.
Good to know. We wish them luck with that. Now, Rosanna, you were recently a representative of the Communist Party at an international meeting of Communist and Workers' Parties that was held in Athens, Greece. How was it?
It was really exciting. It was exciting to meet different people from all over the world that are like-minded, that are working towards a better world, and that are discussing how do we unite to make this a better world and support each other in movements such as the yellow vests and other movements, Palestine, women's rights, things like that.
They were focusing on a two-state solution to the Palestinian question. Was that the issue? Or
the issue was to have a Palestinian state that borders with the original borders of 1949, which is the UN resolution passed, and with Jerusalem as the capital. So that was an important, and it was really interesting to see the unity among the Israelis, the Palestinians, the Lebanese comrades in this effort. That was really inspiring to see that unity.
That's great. That's great to hear. We're going to have a special webinar next Thursday at 8 p.m., 7 Central, 5 Pacific, featuring Rosanna and Chris Butters, who was our other delegate. It's going to be an hour-long program, so stay tuned for it. We'll have an extensive discussion of it. You'll hear all about it, both the politics and the cultural elements. And also, I want to know, how do the Communist Parties party? Did y'all have any fun while you were out there in Athens?
It was a lot of work, mostly work. We did go to their 100th anniversary celebration. And then after that, we had dinner. We didn't get home till like 1 p.m. Wow. 1 a.m. in the morning.
That was a big event. I saw they had it in an indoor stadium. And that
it was the Peace Stadium. They have a Peace Stadium that's supposedly one of the most technological, I believe, in the world. It was a really beautiful event. A lot of music, protest music from the years, from their era and their struggles. I love the music, and I was fortunate to have a young man from the Netherlands who knew Greek, so he can tell me, and was very familiar with the musicians. Fortunately, I didn't write them down, but he was able to kind of give me a little background story.
Great
so I was able to enjoy it much more.
Great to hear. Well, we'll hear more about that on Thursday, so stay tuned for the announcement here on YouTube. Coming back to the United States, today is going to be an important day. I think that they're going to be Mueller and those guys, the special prosecutor's office, are going to be giving sentencing guidelines to Mr. Cohen, who flipped on Mr. Trump, and also, what's the guy's name? Manafort? Do you think, Rosanna, that there's going to be big news today, or are we going to be disappointed again?
Well, I don't know. I think I'm holding my breath to see, because each time I think is this going to be the moment that's the breaking point? And I get disappointed that it's not quite yet that point. We're not at that point. I know that it's happening because as Marxists, we know our science tells us that there'll be a breaking point, but what that is, we're still waiting. So I'm going to hold my breath and see what happens and be able to move accordingly.
Well, the only thing that we can do, we can't count on anything in the government and state, the courts, though we think that that's important. But what's even more important is working class and people's pressure, and keeping that going.
And I think that's the lesson, even back to the Yellow Vest movement. It's for us in the United States, it shows us the power of the people when they organize. Even though they saw a lot of violence and stuff, but it was instigated by the police. And even the police got tired of it because they realized, I think, that they were going to be affected by this fuel tax as well. And so they turned themselves in, not turned themselves in, but they stopped some of what they were being asked to do to create this violence against the workers. So I think for us, it tells us that we need to join forces. We need to build that unity to bring that change that we really are needed here in our own country.
Absolutely right. Scott, you have a parting shot before we end? I heard you trying to get in.
Yeah, I was just, I wanted to add on to what Rossana was saying about the police in France. I believe that one of the police unions in France has just issued a sort of a strike authorization warning, saying that they are prepared to go on strike amidst this Yellow Vest movement. So
cool.
A different situation with the police maybe than in the United States, though I'm not super familiar with how it works there.
Interesting. Well, the important thing is that the workers and people are not going to accept y'all solving problems that you created in your search for super profits. You're not going to solve it on our backs. And that's important because it looks like we're on the verge of a recession here in the United States. You saw what happened in the stock market this week. So we will see. We'll be discussing that and more next week on our program, This Week with the Communist Party. It'll take place here on YouTube at around 10:45 next week. That's 10:45 Eastern, 9:45 Central, and 7:45 Pacific, if my arithmetic is correct. Yeah. So join us. And thanks for joining us, Rossana. We hope you'll come back. And again, you're going to hear Rossana and Chris next Thursday here on YouTube at 8 o'clock Eastern. So watch out for the announcement. You guys have a great weekend. Oh, by the way, this is a big weekend for the People's Weekly World. There's going to be a program in New Haven tomorrow evening, sponsored by the PW and the Communist Party. They call it the Amistad Awards, celebrating the 99th anniversary of the party. And in New York on Sunday, the Better World Awards is taking place, and that will also be streamed live. So,
and in Philadelphia on Sunday.
Oh, that's right. You're going to Philadelphia.
Banquet to raise money for the People's World as well.
Rosanna's going to be the featured speaker there. Yeah. So have a good time and soft landings in Philadelphia. You've been moving around.
I have.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I'm glad you're out there representing for us. Okay. I think that's it. Thanks, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Have a good weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.